There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nick Federoff on Gardening. 1-800-405-NICK is our telephone number. And let's go to the telephones and speak with Trace. Hey, Trace, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good. What's on your gardening mind today?
Well, what I was wondering was on peppers and stuff like that, the different types of peppers, like I grow fatale peppers, I grow pequins, ají amarillas, habaneros. Can they get cross-pollinated and can my less whatever hot type, the regular friendly peppers, can they be cross-pollinated with the real hot ones? Because I have some real hot, like bell peppers. I mean,
is that right? Yeah.
And the fatales are like right around 750,000 whatever.
Scoville. Yeah, they're called Scoville units.
Yeah, Scoville units.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Bujalinkas, right over 1 million. And I obviously it's done something, but maybe just being in the ground, cross-pollinating.
Well, I'm actually thinking on the lines of what your question is all about. Can they cross-pollinate?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think they can. In fact, I know they can. They can cross-pollinate, and you can get the heat of one plant going to another one because the heat itself is the most prominent aspect of the plant in the first place. So to have a bell pepper, which has almost no Scoville units,
right.
crossbreeding with a habanero, I think that the habanero is going to have the more prominent type of a taste. Did you ever know how they actually measure the Scoville units?
No, I was wondering about that because I have some real hot fatales this year that are, I think, as hot as the ghost pepper Bujalinka, and
right?
I would put it up against those.
Really?
These things are fiery hot. I'd send you some if you wanted to, but you could put like one of these fatale peppers in 10 pounds of hamburger for chili or something like that, and it would be rudely hot.
Really? Oh, that's wild. I actually went to a Peruvian restaurant one time, and I asked the waiter, I says, what kind of pepper is this? What kind of sauce is this called right here? It was on the table. And he says, we call that the gringo killer. So, so hot, and it was hot too. Yeah, Scoville units is actually kind of fun.
How do they do that?
Well, they measure it on a scale from 0 all the way up into the millions. And what they do is that they take a 1 drop of the oils, the concentrated oil from the chili. Okay. And what they'll do is that they'll continue to, then what they do is they add droplets of water. And they keep on tasting each droplet of water. And they count how many droplets go inside into this oil, this chili oil, and they count them until the water isn't hot any longer, until it tastes just like water. So it's really interesting because the Scoville units will actually range. You'll get a Serrano, for instance, and maybe it'll be, and I'm not just making this up right now, it could be 30,000 up to 45,000
that's about right.
Scoville units. And then, of course, you take an Anaheim chili, and it could be 150 to 250. And the reason why you have such a range of droplets, or not droplets, such a range in numbers over there, is because for one person, it took 30,000 droplets in order for that taste, for that water not to taste like chili any longer, or not to taste hot any longer.
Fire water.
Yeah, fire. There you go, fire water. Well, as the other person, it took 45,000 droplets, and they actually do this with human beings. They don't test this any other way, so it's really kind of cool.
I always thought it was some kind of a burn thing or something like that. But yeah, that makes sense. But who would sit there going, okay, well that's 1,200,000 droplets to make this Bujalinka pass on?
Yeah, Mr. Scoville did it.
with Bujalinka?
Yeah, William Scoville, I think his name was William Scoville. Hey, you know what? If I'm not mistaken, I might have. I'm not 100% sure. I might have on my website thingsgreen.com, and we have a channel on there called Things Green TV. I actually did a little history. Well, it wasn't well, I guess it was a history. It was a history on Scoville and the units and the measuring thereof. And then we also took, and I showed everybody how to dry the chili. And what's really interesting about chili, what's really interesting about chili is that when you dry the chili, it's one of the very few plants that you actually keep indefinitely after it's dried. A lot of plants will take and they'll rot and they'll get mold and things like that. I guess if you get a little moisture in your chili, your dried chili. But it's one of the very few that you can actually do that. You can take it and you could just keep it in a bag, as long as it's an airtight bag or a plastic container. You could freeze it if you want, but you really don't have to. It'll stay almost indefinitely on your shelf.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so it's kind of mummification of a sort.
Yeah. And then, what you're doing, boy, I think I give you props. In fact, I always, whenever anybody calls me and talks to me about chili like this, and you brought up a sensation to me that was just amazing. I had gone to Disney World one time, and I was walking through this place, and all of a sudden, the smell of chili got stronger and stronger and stronger. Well, what they ended up doing, they had this huge area that was about the size of a football field. Trace, I got to tell you, the whole thing was packed with different types of chilies. It was a phenomenal experience to see all the different colors and the flavors and the styles. But they had the whole area had one thing in common. It smelled hot. So it was really pretty cool. So with that, that's kind of what we're looking at, all right?